The conservation function carries on even in lockdown, and while we may not be doing as much active treatment, we're still involved both on-site and remotely looking after the collection. That is to say, we keep an eye on the environment and the conditions, working with our colleagues in the building department. We also come and do visual inspections of the works both on display and in the conservation studios. Hi, this is Larry Keith, Head of Conservation and Keeper at the National Gallery. We looked before at the cleaning of Rubens' Het Steen, and now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the next phase of the project, now that you've seen both the cleaning and the structural treatment shown to you by my colleague Britta. I'll talk a little bit about the next stage, which is the retouching, that is the making good of the losses and damages, and the final phase that we do. I'm afraid I'm going to have to do this on my own. I'm working because of COVID restrictions alone in a rather gloomy January afternoon, and so this has got a slightly handmade quality to this video, so I hope you can bear with me. But you can see after cleaning, all those qualities we discussed before with this picture are really very much to the fore. The wonderful color relationships, the fantastic sweep of the vista, the detail of the brushwork, and really the question of retouching now is making good the losses and damages that have occurred and doing very small and precise adjustments to unlock the true glories really of Rubens' brushwork, which I can show you in some detail later. It's important to remember a few things about the modern method of retouching, and the most important, significant, is that all the retouching we do is on top of the varnish we apply to the picture after cleaning. So that means the varnish is a kind of release layer that allows us to remove our retouchings very, very easily. Much of the picture is painted over a kind of tawny orange, streaky priming layer that Rubens lets show through in varying degrees purposefully to create the kind of effects he wishes for. Here you can see it showing a bit in an area like this. And if I move slowly across, you can see it showing more and more in other areas. Now where the painting is a bit thin, or where it has some damages, here again, not damage, but you can see how beautiful the effect is of having the orange layer coming through. How much motion it gives and vivacity to the paint surface. But in an area where the paint is more actually damaged, as we start to do our retouchings, we absolutely begin by copying that warmer underlayer, and then we pull across the bluish-gray color of the sky itself. Rubens was particularly masterful, I think, at understanding how to exploit the properties of underlayers and letting them show through the paint he applied above. And so when we talk about having to copy that layering system in the retouching we apply now, it's particularly useful to see in an area like the sky, or in this painting where the orange, warm primings that are underneath most of the picture are purposefully left to show through. And so when we go about reconstructing areas of loss, we absolutely have to copy that system, and you can see that in a couple of details. So now that the restoration is effectively finished, I've got a little bit to do with the last adjustment to the varnish and some work just tweaking here and there on some of the adjustments to earlier retouchings that I've started. But you can see now, without any interruption from loss or damage, just how effective this amazing depiction, this panoramic sweep and recession and sense of light raking across the surface, early morning sun. It's been really thrilling to work on, because as you work and appreciate each and every detail, incredible fluency with which Rubens worked, his absolute understanding of paint, and there's every kind of application. Quick gestural, kind of glaze-like effects, thick impasto, careful work, quite fast. And absolute and complete control. What I'm getting ready to do now is put the last bit of varnish on, a spray application. It's typically the last thing we do, and it's really just to even out the saturation and gloss, because sometimes that gets a little bit disrupted by our retouching. It's much less varnish than a typical spray coat, and it's really just about giving that final, unified and even surface to the picture.
The newly made frame, roughly after a French Louis XIII example, fully carved and gilded, with a rebate taken out to allow for the bow of the panel. And this is, we're just trying to see how well it fits and how harmonious it looks with the painting at this stage. It's still kind of not halfway through, but there's still a little bit of work to be done on it.
No, I think it has really transformed this painting, the way it looks now, with after cleaning, and I love the sort of ribbon effect of that surround the picture. I think it really works very well with and the color of the frame. It works really well with how the picture now looks. And as we were discussing just now, it's just wonderful to see also how the depth in the front of the picture has really, been developed, as it were. Something you often only see once it's in a frame. So, no, I'm very pleased with this.